What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Royally Unapologetic Podcast, where we're talking all about building brands that make people pleasers clutch their pearls and dream clients say, oh, hell yes, take my money. Let's get into it. All right, you guys, today I'm going to be walking you through one of my favorite practices for changing or releasing limiting beliefs that isn't just quote unquote, just think positive. One of my least favorite pieces of advice that I've ever gotten in my journey as an entrepreneur, specifically when it comes to mindset, is to just think positively or not give attention to negative thoughts or just change your thoughts, just choose different. And while this absolutely has merit and it's absolutely important, it was one of the hardest things I had to learn. And I'll be the one to tell you, this shit is not easy. It is not normal. It is literally an active practice that needs to be worked like a muscle. And it is absolutely a practice that you should be working on. I'm not going to discount that at all. But if you are anything like me, when I try to move into a new level of expansion, of wealth or leadership, my limiting beliefs, my negative thought patterns literally beat the shit out of me. And the quote unquote think positively, just be nice to yourself literally does not solve that problem, at least not for a long time. I have so much more control now over my mind, over my thoughts now compared to before. And I can make a conscious effort to stop those negative thoughts and choose a positive one instead, which I talked about in the last episode as one of the practices that I do to navigate limiting beliefs. But the reason I can do that so well now is because I have been practicing that intentionally for literally 2 years, like daily for 2 years. And I wish that I would have known the practice that I'm going to share with you today back then, because ever since I started implementing this practice, the control I have over my thoughts and being able to choose a positive thought and control my mind in a situation or a season of growth has drastically changed. And I will recommend this practice to anyone and everyone that says they're having a hard time getting over a limiting belief or struggling to choose a better thought. And this practice is cord cutting. Now, there are definitely some interesting ways to do cord cutting. And the reality is that it's actually very simple. It does not need to be this elaborate thing. You don't need a candle. You don't need scissors and string and whatever. You don't need that. There are practices that include that sort of stuff, and that's not what I'm talking about at all. This is a very simple practice of going into your subconscious mind, finding and removing the thoughts, beliefs, or patterns that no longer serve you. And I think a lot of people think that to get to your subconscious mind or to make a change like this, to cut a cord or whatever, you have to have some guru take you there or like do the weird shit with the candle and whatever, or even that the subconscious is woo-woo. But I'm here to tell you that it's literally so easy, and it has been so transformative for me. And the subconscious is not woo-woo. It's literally a neuroscience, and it is so crucial to your success and your transformation. And I have had so many different conversations around this topic recently, around the topic of positive thinking, moving past limiting beliefs, or just like changing your mindset. And this has come up so much in the last few weeks that I decided I'm just going to make a podcast episode about this, because I have been having these conversations so often, and I'm going to just tell people how I do it. Because these are private conversations that I'm having, and if so many people are talking to me about this privately, then I think that all of you guys can benefit from it too. So I am just gonna literally walk you through exactly how I do this. If this is not for you, that's absolutely fine. But like I said, this has been so transformative for me, and I just want to share it with everybody that I can. So when I start, I don't always do this, but I try, and most of the time I'll do this. I will set aside 5 to 10 minutes to journal or just like mentally explore the belief or the thought that's coming up that I want to get rid of. So I'll ask things like, where did it come from? Why is it making me feel this way? What is it making me feel? Why do I have this thought? Is there something deeper? What do I actually think is going to happen? blah, blah, blah. And I'll just start exploring it and asking new questions and really trying to understand it so I actually know what I need to get rid of, because it's not always the first thought that comes up. It's often something deeper, and I don't want to say more sinister. That sounds really bad, but it's something sometimes a little bit darker, a little bit more vulnerable that you actually have as the root of the issue or the root of the belief rather than just the initial thought itself. So, for example, let's say you want to make 20K months, but you're noticing that you're having different hesitations in your actions, even though you want 20K months. Wanting it is not enough. Wanting it is not what brings it to fruition. So, you want to ask yourself, like, why am I experiencing this hesitation? And when you start to dig in, you will start to recognize, oh, maybe it's actually that you're afraid of succeeding. Why am I afraid of succeeding? It's because you are afraid of judgment that people are going to have, or people are going to leave you that you love because of jealousy or a wrong perception of you, rather than just like hesitation around 20K months and not being able to do the thing. It's that you have this fear of rejection and abandonment at the root of the issue. So that's the thing that you want to remove, not necessarily just the inability to do the action, right? So when you remove the root issue, your ability to do the action becomes greater. So that's why you need to explore the thoughts rather than just being like, oh, I have this thought, I'm going to dive right in. I mean, like, you can do that, but it just works better for me to explore. Anyway, so once I've done kind of the exploration and I know what thoughts that I actually need to get rid of, what the root issue is, I will just lay down, I'll start breathing, I'll start relaxing the body, and then I will start to visualize. And I always start on like the same porch. It's literally like a porch of a little shack in the woods. And I will literally sit on this porch and I will open the crown of my head as if like the back end is on a hinge, and I'll open it, and then there's all my little thoughts inside. And for me, my thoughts, because I'm an ADHD person, my thoughts are sometimes a little hard to like grab onto, and I literally physically grab them with my hand. I take my head off of my shoulders and set it down, open it up, and then I have a box next to my head. This sounds so crazy saying it out loud. I'll literally pick out the thoughts, and because like I said, it's hard to grab onto them sometimes. Mine are ping pong balls or little slips of paper that are kind of hard to grab onto. I just give myself time. I give myself as much time as I need to get a grip on them and put them into this box. And I will literally just like say to them, hey, my thoughts are going to be safe here. I'm not going to forget you. I'm just moving you into this box for safekeeping. Once I have them all in there, I close it and I just set it to the side, and then I start walking. And I hop off this porch and I start walking down a nice, like, wide, clear trail in the woods. And I'm always barefoot. I can feel the ground. It's a gorgeous day out. The temperature is perfect. I can feel the dirt on my feet, and I just walk. And I just do this, I breathe, and then I just keep walking until I notice a staircase, and it's always on the right-hand side for me. This is literally a place that I can physically like see in my mind. And so I notice a staircase, and then as I come over to it, I just walk over to it, take a breath, and I start going down. And I visualize every single step, the barefoot stepping down onto each step. I count them. There's usually 10. Sometimes if I'm having a day where I'm struggling to focus or struggling to get into the meditation, it's 15, but I don't put any pressure on myself. I just take it slow. If I need to pause on a step to kind of like reorient myself, it's fine. I don't put any pressure on myself to do something in a certain time frame. I just let it be. And when I first started this practice, the first staircase was different. I did this practice for a while, and then I got to a second staircase that was in my brain, deeper in my subconscious mind. And then I did it some more, and then I got to a third staircase, and I've been on that third staircase for a while. So you may not see the same staircase every time, and that's absolutely okay. So once I get down to the bottom of the stairs, I round the corner of my third staircase, and it opens up to this little grassy island garden thing. And there's like fountain off to the side. And if anybody's wondering, my subconscious mind looks like Japanese gardens. That's what it looks like to me. Anyway, there is this glowing ball of light in the middle, and it moves, it shifts, it looks like it's alive. And that is my subconscious. And that's where all of my beliefs are. And so I really view the subconscious as something that is part of me, but simultaneously completely separate from my active mind. So I'll go in, I'll start giving it love. I always start with love. And to do that, I just walk over, I put my hand on it, I say hi, I give it some love, maybe a little heads up like, okay, baby, we've got some work to do today. It's not going to be that comfortable, but we have to do it. Okay. I love you. And it's interesting because I literally talk to it like it's a pet or like a small child or even a teenager. When I do that first bit of love, it feels like I'm talking to a horse before going for like a big ride or something where they're going to be working hard or whatever. That's how I talk to it. And it's just, I love it so much. Like it's independent of me, so I can treat it that way and not feel weird. So I would start with love, and then I simply put my hand on it and I ask, where is X belief that I want to remove? Where's this belief? And I just name the belief. And I just name it over and over and over until these like ropes appear. And I am guided to the right one. And for me, these cords always show up as ropes of like varying sizes, and they're always anchored in to glowing ball of light, and they extend all the way into the sky until they disappear and I can't see them anymore. Anyway, so when I'm guided to the right one, I will just sit with it for as long as I need, and I'll talk to it like, I know you're here because you want to protect me from X thing. I appreciate it, but we don't need to worry about that anymore. Blah, blah, blah. And I will just tell it what it needs to hear, what I feel like it needs to hear in order to make my subconscious comfortable enough to release it. And so sometimes I don't know why it's there. And I'm just super honest about it. Literally, I talk to it like it's a kid or like the teenage version of me so that I can give it love, but I can also talk to it like it's old enough to understand. And it's honestly been a very healing experience because I treat it like a younger version of me and I give it the love that it needs to have or that I needed that I didn't get. So I give it the love. I talk to it like, hey, I know you're here for this, whatever. And then once I feel like I'm comfortable enough to release it, subconscious is comfortable enough to release it, I will get out whatever tool I need. If it's a smaller rope, if it's an easier cord to cut, that's like not a huge belief, I'll just break out some scissors and cut it real quick. Sometimes it's a big ass rope that is super thick and tough, or it's a collection of ropes. That's how I know that it's like a deeply, deeply rooted belief and it's going to be hard. I will literally break out like a handsaw and start cutting that shit. Bigger scissors. I'll work at it for longer, talking to it as I do so that it's easier to release. If I notice that I'm having some struggles, I'll just like give it some more love, give it some more affirmation like, hey, I appreciate that you're trying to protect me, but I don't need this anymore. I love you, but I don't need this anymore. It's okay. And then sometimes I'll have a rope that I cut through and then I realize there's two little wires keeping it hanging on for dear life. And then I have to go get some fucking wire cutters and like snip them. They're obviously all on hand because this is a secondary reality, not this one. And I just work at it as long as I need until the upper portion goes limp and then disintegrates till I can't see it anymore. And then the lower portion that's anchored into my subconscious will also go limp. And for me, like I said before, I've always been using this word anchor. There's always something anchoring it into my subconscious. So I will go and physically like pull that anchor out. And those anchors can look really, really weird depending on how strong the belief was. The anchor can be bigger, it can be smaller, it can be sharp, it can be like all weird and jagged and all sorts of weird shapes. And I will just pull it out. It kind of makes like a slurping sound. I'm giving you guys so much detail. I hope you enjoy this. I'll pull it out and then I will take it over to the fountain that I mentioned earlier that's like over in the corner. And I just put that anchor in there until it's completely covered with water. And then it ends up transforming into like some sort of glitter or bubbles or something different, some other material. And I will wait until that happens before I go back and go to another belief. And so sometimes when the anchor is really big, when it was a really difficult belief to remove, it can sometimes leave a wound in my subconscious. So I'll always go back and like put my hand over that wound and I will just visualize that closing, filling back in with light and completely healing before I move on to the next belief. And I just repeat this process over and over and over again until all the thoughts that I had on my list of things to remove are gone. And sometimes I will also install new beliefs while I'm in there. And so once I'm done with all of the beliefs that I want to remove, I will just repeat the new belief that I want to believe over and over and over again, and visualize these like three rope type things coming down from the sky, spiraling around one another until they reach my hand, and I can manually like anchor it in to that ball of light, that subconscious. And when I anchor it in there, I just visualize like there's an outer layer that glows brighter as I install each new belief. And once I'm done with all my shit, I've removed the things I want to remove, I've installed the things I want to install, I will tell it like, hey, you're doing such a good job. The hard work is done. I'm so proud of you, blah, blah, blah. And I'll just close it out with love before I go back. And I just like walk back around the corner. I go up the stairs and then I like come back into my body. And I cannot tell you like how transformative this has been. I will say that when I started, I was really scared. The first time I did this, I was guided by a really amazing woman in the coaching container I'm in. And she reminded us like, hey, you're safe. Before we go down the stairs, you know that you're safe. You just intuitively know this is your subconscious mind. You're going to be safe in here. And I really needed that because I was so nervous. I was very scared of what I was going to find in there. And I think if you've experienced trauma of any kind, this may seem scary at first, but I'm here to tell you it is safe. You are okay. It is just you. It is a softer, more vulnerable version of you in there, and you just need to take care of it. And when you think about it that way, it really allows you to be gentle with yourself. Like I grew up with some tough love, and I was not always given the space to feel my emotions or given the gentleness that I needed. And I ended up stuffing down a lot of my emotions, which is one, not healthy, and two, not conducive to growth. But to my brain, it wasn't safe to show those emotions. I wasn't going to get the love, the gentleness, the whatever that I needed or felt like I needed at the time. But this is where you get to be what you needed. You get to talk to your subconscious the way that the younger you needed to be spoken to. You get to give the love that you needed in order to release those patterns and beliefs that you have built up that are preventing you from seeing the growth and expansion that you want to see. And this practice has really allowed me to go in and remove any thoughts or patterns that I just don't like. I have so much more agency over my life, my beliefs, my actions, and I attribute a lot of that to this practice. I feel like this has been very freeing for me. And this is not going to be for everybody, and that is a-okay. This has been transformative for me, and that's why I wanted to share it with you, because it's been so helpful to me, and I know that there are other people who also struggle with like just choosing different thoughts, and this has been a practice that's given me a little bit more agency in that area. But again, if this isn't for you, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Anyway, next week we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming for more business strategy, but I've been having so many conversations recently around this topic and where this has come up, and I just wanted to share it on the podcast so that anybody who's like me, who struggles to think positive or just choose those different thoughts, will have something that's given me more agency, and hopefully it will give you agency as well in that department. But if you like this episode, please let me know, rate and review the show, share it with a business bestie if you think that they could benefit from this. And as always, if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to hear me talk about on the podcast, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I am so grateful for you, and I will see you in the next one.